This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Or as our friends refer to us, Kenny B, Ray D. As always, cannot thank you enough for checking out the show. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome. This here is what we call The Rundown, Mr. B.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Ray. Straight ahead on the program, often overlooked and sometimes even ignored, the maintenance efforts of your irrigation pivots are more important than you think. Why now is the ideal time to address any issues with your system. The Georgia Agribusiness Council, what is it? Who does it benefit? And more importantly, how much of an impact can it have on the state's economy? And then later.
Well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up a little bit later, we're talking armadillos, their chance at carrying leprosy, and how you can control them with traps just like this. That and a whole lot more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
With margins being so tight for a number of farmers heading into the new year, it's more important than ever to avoid any type of setback during the growing season. One preventive measure that can be taken right now is properly maintaining your irrigation pivot. Damon Jones tells you how this simple process can save you both time and money.
It's the lifeblood to any farming operation, and with the unpredictable weather here in Georgia, having the proper amount of water out in the field is nearly impossible without a reliable irrigation system. And with planting season still months away from most major crops, now is the ideal time for some routine upkeep.
A farmer's center pivot system is a lot like the vehicle they drive. It's very important to periodically service it and perform maintenance on it. A lot of the times during the winter is usually a farmer's downtime. So then would be a good time for them to perform that maintenance and service it.
And best of all, the process is relatively short and simple. In fact, you'll likely have everything you need right at your disposal.
Some things you can do: number one, you could perform a catch can or uniformity test on it. After that, if you have performed a catch can test, then you could drain all the water out of your system. You could also check for any leaks and grease it, and check the oil in any of your center drives or your gearboxes as well. Check electrical components.
While these are routine practices, they still must be done each and every year in order to prevent mishaps that could cut into a grower's bottom line.
Some of the potential consequences for not performing winter maintenance on your center pivot irrigation would be a farmer could have significant downtime next growing season due to not having performed that maintenance. The last thing a farmer wants is to have any downtime during next growing season during critical crop stages. During peak crop demand of peanuts, corn, cotton, or whatever they're growing, the last thing they want to do is to have a pivot tear up on them.
And the University of Georgia is making it even easier by providing a step-by-step guide on how to properly care for and winterize your pivot.
A big piece of advice I would give farmers: UGA Extension does have some material on center pivot checklists, and they can look it up online. We do have a publication for a center pivot checklist that they can go through each of the items while they're performing this maintenance and check those off as they go. So I encourage farmers to take the time to perform this maintenance on their system to ensure the longevity of it.
And if that wasn't easy enough, County Extension is offering to do some of the testing themselves in order to promote timely maintenance.
I would encourage them to take the time to perform this maintenance now during the winter times while it's slow, so that they don't have significant downtime during next season's growing season. As I mentioned earlier, the uniformity or catch can test, they can be performed by UGA Extension employees, and if a farmer is interested in this free service, they need to contact their local extension agent.
Reporting from Mitchell County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, as we all know, agriculture has a multi-billion-dollar impact on the state of Georgia, and it's only fitting that people and groups work together to keep it successful. Case in point, the Georgia Agribusiness Council. Our John Holcomb sat down with Council President Will Bentley to learn more about the organization and what all they focus on to make sure agribusiness continues to thrive.
Agriculture is huge here in the state of Georgia, and without it, the state wouldn't be anything like it is today, which is why it's so important that people and organizations fight for its success every single day.
We represent all segments of agriculture, from farms to manufacturers to ag chem and fertilizer groups and ginners and shellers and research universities and then also other commodity groups. So we're kind of an umbrella organization for everyone involved in the business of agriculture. And our goal really is to advance agriculture across the board, whether that's in economic development, environmental stewardship, or through legislative representation. We do a lot of different things, and every day we get up just to fight for agribusiness and those that are involved in the business of agriculture.
The importance of fighting for agribusiness can't be overstated, especially when you look at how important ag is to the state.
There's 1 in 7 jobs in this state are involved in agribusiness, so that's a huge deal. We think it's extremely important for a state to be able to provide food and fiber for its citizens, and Georgia can do that. We can feed our entire population, but then we can also have excess that can go around the country and even around the world. And that's just extremely important for a state, and Georgia's blessed to have the natural resources and the farmers and the agribusinesses that it takes to be able to do that.
They work for ag in a number of different ways, but always with the focus on making sure agribusiness remains competitive and has a level playing field.
We play a huge role in trying to make sure that all of our agribusinesses and all of our farms have what they need to be successful. And that's something that goes on behind the scenes a lot of times. I mean, obviously, the farms and the agribusinesses that are out there every day, they play the most important role. But we have a behind-the-scenes role to make sure that the environment for them is good and they're able to be competitive with not only our competitors in other states, but also we're seeing a lot of competition from other countries around the world where they don't have the same regulations or the same laws that we do. So we have to make sure that we're always focusing on keeping Georgia agriculture competitive so that our farmers can be successful and our agribusinesses can support those farms now and in the future.
One of the biggest areas they work in is policy, which entails working at the Capitol during session to make sure policy doesn't hinder agribusiness.
Every year we're always looking for legislation that it kind of advances private property rights, helps out the transportation system in Georgia. You know, we need a robust transportation system to make sure that all the products get moved from the farm to the anything in between and into restaurants and onto the clothing for folks in the state, so that's always important. Taxes are always something that's important to us, but really just making sure that our ag sector you know, is not over-regulated. There's sensible regulations, we have sensible tax laws, and then we provide the resources that the state has to make sure that research and other things are done to keep our farmers competitive.
Reporting in Bibb County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Well, you see them dead on the road. They might be rooting around in your garden. And if you're wondering about how to control these guys, I've got answers after this.
We enjoy rich biodiversity here in Georgia with a wide variety of plants and animals that are native or naturally occur here and are adapted to living together. But species that don't normally live here or non-natives have been imported. And some of those plants and animals can push, shove, and crowd out our native species. Therefore, scientists refer to them as invasive exotics. You've probably seen kudzu along the road, completely engulfing trees and covering large stretches of land, smothering plants and rendering the habitat unsuitable for wildlife. This invasive vine was introduced to the U.S. in the late 1800s as an ornamental, for forage, and to control erosion. All good intentions, but without the checks and balances from its ecosystem of origin, it got way out of hand here. Formerly domesticated and exotic animals can wreak havoc too. For example, feral hogs destroy sensitive habitats by rooting and wallowing. And escaped or released pets such as tegus can become unnatural predators. Our native wildlife have no natural defenses against them. Ground nesting birds, turtles, and small mammals are especially at risk. North American wildlife can become invasive exotics in other parts of the world too. For example, largemouth bass were introduced as a sport fish on every other continent except Antarctica. They're not a problem everywhere, but some countries have reported negative impacts to their native wildlife. Even within our own country, wildlife moved around or released where they don't belong can cause problems. Flathead and blue catfish are prized sport fish in the Midwestern U.S. where they're native. But when they were illegally introduced into the Satilla River in southeast Georgia, they nearly decimated the famous redbreast population there that is such a great part of Georgia's history and culture. So what can each of us do to help restore balance to our ecosystems? First, do a little research before buying plants for your yard, perhaps online or with a field guide or a plant ID app. If you're not careful, you could unintentionally plant non-natives that are known to escape yards and take over nearby habitats. The following exotic plants are considered invasive, so you may not want to buy them, and consider removing them if they're already growing in your yard. Autumn olive or thorny olive, also known by the name Elaeagnus, bamboo, Bradford pear, Chinese silvergrass or miscanthus, Chinese wisteria, English ivy, leatherleaf mahonia, nandina, periwinkle, and privet. With a little searching, you can find more ecologically valuable options that will provide a similar look and structure in your landscape. For a full list of plants to be wary of, along with recommended alternatives, visit the Georgia Exotic Pest Plant Council's website at gaepppc.org/alternatives. Also, be a responsible pet owner. If you own exotic animals, make sure their enclosures are secure. And please don't release unwanted pets into the wild. Rehome them instead, with help from a rescue group if needed. We can all work together to control invasive exotic species and thereby help to restore biodiversity and balance to our ecosystems. To learn more, please visit gainvasives.org. Thanks for helping to keep Georgia wild.
If you've crossed paths with one, then you probably agree they are ugly, hard-headed, destructive, a tad bit skittish, and there's documented cases of them being carriers of leprosy. What is this mysterious creature? Ranger Nick investigates.
Well, the winter time has set in, and it's time to think about the kinds of wildlife that are out and about this time of the year. And I'm joined this month by somebody that knows a thing or two about these guys. This is my buddy Arnie. Arnie, meet Dr. Mike Menjak. Dr. Menjak is a professor and wildlife extension specialist with the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resource. Hey, Mike, good to see you.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I appreciate you letting me borrow your buddy here. He's being such a good sport about all this. Doc, I want to talk a little bit today about the idea of how active these guys might potentially be this time of the year. First, because typically in the fall or summer, I'm seeing armadillos in the headlights of my car in the evening time. As we get into the winter and it's colder, I'm seeing these more during the day. Explain that to me.
They don't thermoregulate real well.
Okay.
So they tend to be more active in this time of the year, in the winter,
Okay.
during the warmer part of the day.
Okay.
In the summertime, they tend to be more active in the cooler part of the day, which is at night.
Okay.
So in the hot summer, they stay active at night when it's cool. In the cold winter, they stay active in the day when it's warm. So they flip their timing of most activities with the seasons. So they cue into temperature, not really daylight as much.
Good. So they're not hibernating. They're out.
Not hibernating. They don't hibernate.
Good. So they're looking around for what when they're active?
Food. They're insect eaters.
Good.
So
that's
grubs and insects in your lawn and your leaves and your mulch, but strictly insects. They're not predators on anything much bigger than grubs and earthworms and spiders. They're not chasing mice or bird eggs. You know, they'll eat some bird eggs, ground nesting birds occasionally.
Really?
But just if they stumble upon them. They're not real active hunting predator type.
Now, that's good to know. I immediately go in my mind, and maybe the folks at home are wondering about this too. You hear about leprosy with these guys. We talk about their activity, and maybe when we're out during the day more in the winter. Is that something we should worry about if we happen to get close to one of these? Because I've been able to get pretty close to them before. Right. What do you think?
They can get leprosy.
Okay.
And people have gotten leprosy from them.
Okay.
But it's pretty rare. It comes from either eating undercooked meat or handling them without gloves on, or in some places where they're shot, you know, messing around with them without gloves on, without proper protection, just basic gloves. You should do that anytime when you're skinning an animal anyway.
Absolutely.
So leprosy is not really anything we have to worry about. It's a bacteria. It's treated with antibiotics. It's pretty fragile bacteria. It probably doesn't live very long in the soil. And the CDC website says that 95% of people have natural immunity to leprosy anyway.
Oh,
so
good.
you really don't have to.
Safe.
You really probably don't, unless you're eating raw armadillo. You probably don't need to worry about it. Just cook your armadillo good.
Well, and that's important for the Southwest out there too. I've heard that folks eat these guys, and it's interesting. I imagine last thing to wonder about, of course, rabies. This being a mammal, something to worry about?
Not really. Any mammal can get rabies, but armadillos don't transmit it. So
Good
not
to
really
know.
anything to worry about.
I want to talk with you next, Mike, about how someone at home might know that they have an armadillo problem. So let's go look for some evidence right now. Well, you never know what you're going to find out here when we're taping a Ranger Nick. Beautiful red-shouldered hawk right there. So, Mike, here we are out around a homeowner's home. Talk to me about how we might know that we have an armadillo problem.
Well, you're looking for sign. Most animals are secretive anyway, so you're looking for sign. So they're going to be little diggings in the leaves like this where they're looking for grubs or worms or insects or spiders or something like that. And there'll be small patches. They won't always be that close together, but just small patches where they're digging in the leaves looking for food.
Okay, and you might even see maybe their claw marks in there.
Possibly, if the soil's right, possibly.
Okay, cool.
Another thing to look for is maybe a den or a burrow, and we found one of those here. Look how hidden it is here in this forsythia, and then you can tell this one's not active, it's full of leaves, but that's the den right there where he's dug up underneath this root, and he'd go in there. So you're looking for a hole that's probably oblong, oval, and maybe 6 to 9 inches in diameter. It's about the size of an armadillo hole, so anything smaller than like that, maybe chipmunks, anything bigger than that, I don't know, fox or coyote maybe or something, but about 6 or 9 inches and kind of oblong, kind of oval.
All right, so what you're looking at here is an armadillo trap. Before today, I didn't know something like this existed, and Doc, talk to me about this guy. It looks like we've got 2 entrances. We've got a bunch of wood on either side of it. Walk us through this.
So it's basically just a double door box trap. Pretty simple to build, or you can go online and buy them. There's no such thing as armadillo bait or lure. You could buy it, but don't. It doesn't work. There's no proven effectiveness of it. There is some evidence that an experienced trap is more likely to catch an armadillo than an inexperienced trap. So you got to get that first armadillo to get your trap some experience.
So that's what you mean by that. The experience level of the trap means he's got some scent.
He's got scent in it.
Okay, and the armadillos are sensing that, coming in to see what's going on. Okay, so how's this going to work? How's this going to catch him?
The armadillo is going to be foraging in the yard, and he's going to run into this fence, and it's a funnel fence. And of course, he's got a 50-50 chance of going towards your trap or going the other way. So you want to put it in your yard so that he's going to have to come towards the trap eventually. It's funneling him into the trap.
Absolutely.
I'm going to use a stick to demonstrate what's going on. There's this trip mechanism here in the center with 2 strings, or 1 string going to both doors. And when he goes in, he's going to hit that, and the doors are going to close just like that, and he's going to be stuck in there.
Now, for the folks at home, there's an armadillo in here. What do you recommend we do? Trap and relocate, or what do you think?
I never recommend relocating. That's just moving the problem somewhere else, and that's never a good thing for the animals where you're moving them or the animal that you are moving.
I got you.
Lethal control, dispatch the animal, bury him, and be done with it.
Thanks for today. I so appreciate it, Mike. Everybody, I so appreciate you for watching. I hope you learned something today as well. You know what to do? Hop online, check out the Farm Monitor Facebook page and see what's going on there. Check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page. And until next time, as we always say, Dr. Benjack, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much. We'll see you back here again next month. See ya.
Up next, an experience that is sure to make any child smile, and the first of its kind here in Georgia. From the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. Well, Georgia Farm Bureau has built it, and now it is coming to you. +20 years in the making, Georgia Farm Bureau and its partners are proud to present the Georgia Ag Experience.
The Georgia Ag Experience is a 36-foot mobile agriculture classroom and STEM education program that invites students across Georgia to explore the vast opportunities in agriculture.
It was something that needed to be done for many years, and I wanted this to be part of my legacy, to have a mobile ag classroom to go to the people, go to our, not just our members, but to our kids out in the state.
It was more than I could have ever expected. And as a former teacher, I wish this would have been around when I was in the classroom, because I would have used everything that this trailer had to offer.
Education is what we have got to do. My wife was a kindergarten teacher, and kids used to come to the farm all the time. Some of them never seen an animal that up close, live, and a lot of the stuff that we've done over the years has been to educate people on what we do and where their food comes from and where their clothing comes from. And that's where we got to start, is in the lower levels of the school system, so they'll know what they're talking about. And then when they get to be adults and voting adults, they really know who feeds them and who they need to take care of.
This is the first time that I'm aware of that all of the commodity groups has came together to support this. And I think that's the first step to success, is have the support of all the commodity groups coming together, knowing that we need to go out and tell our story. As more and more people become urban that do not understand agriculture, the importance of it, the safety of it, that, I think, is to tell that story.
The company that actually designed the mobile classroom as well says it's the best trailer that they've ever created. So we're very proud to have this be a part and really the first initiative of the Georgia Foundation for Agriculture. And yeah, we're ready to hit the road.
This is a dream. It's something that I wish we would have had years ago. I know it will only get better with time as we have this on the road and we can see what's working, what do the kids really like, what can we make improvements on. It is absolutely amazing, and you and your students will be blown away with what agriculture looks like in Georgia and how you can have a place in it.
And just for the record, both Kenny and I have taken multiple spins through the experience, played some of the interactive games, learned some ag facts we didn't already know. Plain and simple, it is pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, it really is cool. And hey, if you're a school or organization and you would like more information about the Georgia Ag Experience, everything you need to know is right at your fingertips by logging on to GeorgiaAgExperience.org. Great opportunity for youngsters. Hope you get to check it out really, really soon. And since you're going to be online anyway, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening out on Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of ag, and with us right here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
As always, have a great week.